Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for to be here. Right, my name is Wilson. I'm coming from Continental AG, the startup arm of Continental, co-Pace. Right, I have my slides up, right? All right. All right, so I come from a background of engineering, and I have always been here to bridge gaps between businesses and technology, and also between small and medium enterprises, startups, and with large corporates. So today I'll be talking a bit about corporate open innovation and why we do innovation in corporates, right? So corporate innovation is something that is on a lot of large corporates' mind. A lot of questions has been asked why corporates does this type of open innovation, right? When we have so much innovations, especially like Continental having so many products and services internally, globally we have so much engineers, we are able to churn out new technologies every single year to serve the needs of our customers. But when you think about it, closed innovation has been something that has been ongoing for hundreds of years, right? But what does startups and why new companies like Facebook, Google, right, coming out in the last 20 years is able to disrupt the industry and become giants? It's basically because startups survive on something that is very important, which is innovation. If you do not have innovation, do not have new technologies that can change the industry itself better than the large corporates' closed innovation, you will not survive, because as a supplier to large corporates always say that why not I just get it from the existing supplier? Why not I just get from the established companies that is providing such services? Right? So we look a lot into this type of innovation. How can we actually bridge that in and bring into large corporate? And this is something that I want to talk about today. Let me go into a bit of my background. I have been in this company for the last 6 years. Right? I started out as a strategy consultant for Continental to the C-levels in Asia Pacific. I led the strategy for the supply chain and the smart city initiatives of the corporate. And I have also a bit of background in the area of clean energy fuel cell. As you can see, I am myself very broad in terms of my facilities where I studied, from chemical engineering to software to mechanical. I am very broad, never in depth, because the role of myself in this area is to help you bridge and understand the surface of the technology itself, find the right stakeholders internally, and then bridge that gap, right, for you to get into the corporates to talk to the right people. And that has always been my role of being that bridge, and the cultural bridge, the technological bridge, and the business bridge for you and the large corporate. A bit about Continental. A lot of people ask me about what does Continental do. Continental is famous for our tires. Most of you will only know us for our tires itself, but in fact, tires is 35% of our revenue. Majority of our revenue comes from automotive. So we serve all the brands. As long as you drive, there's a very high chance that you'll be using our components. So 50% comes from the first part, automotive. I'll go into a bit more in depth for you to understand what our company does. We are separated into 4 business units. The first business unit being the safety and motion. We does the braking systems, the drive, not the drivetrain, we don't do the powertrain, but we do the driving wheels, right, the corner units, the passive sensoronics, right, of the vehicle, your reverse parking and all. The second business unit that we do is the autonomous drive, right? The one that makes the L3, L4, L5 of the vehicle drive by itself. We are very famous for our radar systems, the Continental radar. In fact, we are one of the market leaders in this area. The LiDAR systems, the camera systems, and the short-range radars that we have around the car. We are also into mappings, and also that this is the one that will help the autonomous drive to be able to understand the perception and the surroundings of the vehicle. The third business areas that we have is the user experience. The experience of a vehicle is of core importance when you purchase a car. The Continental's technology itself is on the display of the vehicle itself, where you get to experience the first-hand entertainment, infotainment systems, all the essential data of the car itself. We also provide the HUD and the in-cabin monitoring. This includes understanding what is happening in the car, what is happening with the driver. The last business unit that we have, architecture and networking, one of our largest business units. This business unit does all the electronic control units, the controllers within the car. This includes our future products and services in HPC systems, high performance computer. A car itself in the future is not just a mechanical vehicle. It is in fact a computer on wheels. The vehicle is also going to be your companion while you're driving. So it's important for the car to have its own brain, right, to understand what is happening within the vehicle and outside of the vehicle. This is supported largely by our CTO organization, the software and central technologies. The second division that we have, tires, is our famous product and legacy product. We do anything from bicycle tires all the way to those mining tires. Our core products, of course, is our passenger car tires, where famously we also provide to BMW for our run-flat tires. Innovation in this area is also of core importance for us to continuously grow towards sustainable tires and future EV tires. Lastly, the last division, ContiTech, the one that I think most people might not know that we are doing, is in fact all other rubber materials and plastic materials that is non-tires. For ContiTech itself, a division is quite broad. We have a business unit doing surface solutions, so anything from an interior surface of a car to your very nice Italian sofa. We are doing the surface materials for it, including touch sensors, embedded sensors, easy to clean surfaces, and so on and so forth. We can even build a tiny house with our materials inside. Original Equipment Solutions does everything that is in the car itself, including the exhaust pipings, including the air inlet, the fuel cell gas exhaust, right? Materials. So anything on the car, the vibration systems, the air springs itself. Lastly, Industrial Solutions, segregated by region itself. Industrial Solutions does mainly in conveyor belt systems, serving the mining industries, as well as the fluid systems, which is the rubber pipings, serving the chemical industries and agricultural industries. So we are very broad. And across the globe, we are in around 500 sites in near 60 countries, globally 200,000 employees, and we have more than 100 manufacturing sites of our own. So this is to give you a bit of idea what is the size and the products that we have globally, and this is spread across the globe in terms of our innovations, the scouting for new technologies, and being able to work with the founders in the market to look at how can we improve and accelerate our growth of our products and services, right? In Asia Pacific, I take care of Asia Pacific. I will work with the local teams a lot. So as you can see in APAC, from Singapore to India to China, Australia, these are our core areas and core team. We are able to work across the globe, cross-border, to find the real experts in each area to work with the founders and to develop products and services for our customers. So now a bit into my role itself and talk about our establishments for corporate innovation. So Co-Pace, being the startup arm of Continental, has two functions. Number one, to partner with startups, small and medium enterprises, doing investments with the startups itself. And secondly is the corporate venture where we do P&L investments into the startups, running the journey with you. What is the core KPI of this entity itself? Is basically, are we able to look for technologies that can help us improve our current products and services? Are we able to use your technology to expand our product portfolio? improve productivity, which is, for example, I4.0 for our plants, reduction of waste, and then also reduce of cost. We look at the second dimension in this area as well. It is about sustainability. Why do I say second dimension? Because when you are under the regulatory area of reducing carbon, right? Sometimes even increase of cost is something that we have to do due to regulatory issues. So we are always open to look at technologies that fit into these 4 areas and these 2 dimensions. Our outcome for startups itself is very targeted. We are wanting to have you as our supplier, right? Supply us with a technology, a solution, or a service, or even licensing an IP to us. The second way of collaborating is becoming a partner. Sometimes you come with technologies that we are thinking about, or sometimes we don't even think about, and say that, hey, this is actually a good direction for us. Why not? We collaborate, co-create, right? Co-research, co-development, co-commercialization. Lastly, if we see that there is a strategic angle with you, we can also do a minority investment into your company and walk the journey with you and guide you through, right, in this growth of journey into the automotive area or the rubber plastic material science area. Continental have such an organization up separately as a GmbH, which is a separate entity. It's basically for us as well to move around the red tapes of large corporates. As you know, if you are talking to a large corporates, sometimes the NDA itself takes around 6 to 8 months to process. We have our own process internally so that we can expedite everything to meet the needs of innovation. But of course, I have founders that's calling me every other day after a meeting, right? They call me 1 week later and say, oh, Wilson, you say you'll come back with more information soon. I say, it's been 1 week, it's soon. I say, when I'm in a large corporate, I say soon, it means 3 to 6 months. That is soon, right? So it still takes some time, but we try to expedite everything so that we can actually engage with startups better and also have a progress of integrating such technology into our products and services. We are operational in Singapore. I'm based in Singapore. We are also operating in Korea with our partner KHOO and in Taiwan with our partner Mosaic. We do partnerships as well so that we are able to look for technologies on the ground, have more manpower to understand your technology, and at the same time, we also work with other large corporates to see what are some of the focus areas that we have that matches each other. We are trying over here to create a platform and a value chain where technology can come in to our modules and be supplied directly to the customers. As you know, we are a B2B, mainly B2B company. Hence, such a technology coming into our platforms is able to be also transferred on the value to our customers, such as our the car OEMs, Volkswagen, BMW, and all. So as you can see over here, Hyundai is also part of our partnerships, where we are able to work with them to see what is the end consumer needs that we can integrate such technology in. We are located globally, HQ in Germany. I take care of Asia Pacific. I have a colleague that is in New York City, taking care of North America, in Israel as well, and a colleague in Shanghai taking care of the China region, the mainland China region. Now, I would like to talk a bit about the tools that normally corporate use. There's quite a bit of tools on the table, as you can see over here. For open innovation itself, it does not mean that we are only working with small and medium enterprises or startups. We are also working with large corporates, research institute, and institute of higher learning. So from here, you can see that what are some of the tools that is common in the market. It might not be comprehensive, but this shows some of the largest program that normally you can see in a corporate itself. And it is important as a startup to see what type of program fits you, what type of people you are engaging with, what is their mandate, because each of the tool itself has a different mandate from the management, and also at the same time for the corporates itself, what type of program fits your company culture. Because not every company can come up with a CVC, or not every company can come up with an accelerator program. It might not work for them in their industry and their business model. The innovation lab, for example, is one that can spread across the various type of corporates, right? They work with startups. They work with large corporates like other entities, other large MNCs, their suppliers, their customers, or with research institute as well, to create new ideas from scratch and all the way to making its MVP, minimum viable product. But there are some very targeted programs that might be interesting enough. So within Continental, for startups engagement, we look at venture client model. The venture client model basically comes from BMW, right? And some of our competition are also using it, some of the larger MNCs are also using it. It's basically having a team that has the KPI tagged within the business unit. This gives the business units as well a target to grow together with their partners externally. This is very important because in corporate like us, right, if you do not have such a structure itself, or at least within Continental, there's a mentality for the corporates itself to say, the more I do, the more mistake I make. The less I do, the less mistake I make. Hence, why not I don't do it? Right? Why should I take the risk? Because it's not part of my KPI. My KPI, I'm being hired to do this. Why should I do something else? Why should I do innovation? I get paid equally. If I do more, my bonus will drop, right? So having a client venture model is basically throwing as part of the responsibility to the team internally to say, hey, you must work on this, and we are trying to increase and improve our product and services using not just technology that has been think about or thought about within the box itself, but we want to open up the box to include new ideas in. So that's our venture client model. Within KHOO itself, we have 15 packs globally, and we have plus 15 packs internally at the business unit to do such a program with us. Other type of partnerships tools, like with the corporates itself, be it a consortium, be it a joint program itself, it might be useful for startups that is looking at not developing a product or service, but creating a project together with large corporate like us to entertain customers like the government, for example, right? Large governmental projects, tenders and all, consortium comes into play, and these are part of open innovation where we create certain parts of the program, certain parts of the solution itself, and integrate new solutions in from the startups and other corporate partners. In terms of research institute, we are often looking into either a joint lab or corporate lab. For Continental, we look at open innovation in a very broad sense throughout the value chain. Hence, in Singapore, we do have a $50 million Singapore dollars corporate lab where we are funded by both Continental, NTU, and the government. This is to encourage research coming out from large institute of higher learning and commercialize them into either a startup technology or a direct integration into our business units. In this type of program itself, we are also open up to having partners from startups to look at how can you actually integrate such technology into our research and development portion, right? Even so, you can even license technology from us another way around, right? Instead of us licensing from you, you license from us to integrate into your technology. Other tools, I will not talk too much about it, but you know, in investment itself, there are also various ways of doing it. Through the CVC, is a P&L investments, be it a joint fund, funds of funds, or venture studio where we spin off technologies from internal, and also other tools, which is not even included in here is M&A. I don't really feel that M&A is really an open innovation tool. Mainly that is a buying of other technologies and integrating into our businesses or even expansion of our portfolios itself. Right? Not much of an innovation in this portion. Employee side innovation is something that 3Ms is doing very well. They give each of them certain hours per year, Google as well, certain hours per year, budgeting into it, and says that, okay, you create new ideas for me every single year. So when you're engaging with such corporates itself, understand their model is of superb importance, because you need to understand how do you communicate with the internal guys, who are the champions, and how do you engage with the champions so that you can convince the internal stakeholders. Because such champions, like me, is going to become your salesman internally. People that you are not able to approach directly, you will have to channel through these champions for them to engage. So one of the key drivers for innovation and growth in terms of partnering, number one, for corporates, it is of access to new technologies, right? Innovations, like I mentioned. It is also faster time to market because people has been doing it for the last 2 years, right? The startup has been doing it for the last 2 years. How much budget do you have and dedication to also do the same in the next 1 year so that you can catch up with them? Why not just partner with them, right? We can actually have a base, and who says that they cannot do better than us? Sometimes they do. Number 3, reduction of R&D costs. Because I don't have to reinvent the wheel, I can build on top of whatever IP has been created. This actually helps us reduce the amount of R&D that we need. The benefits for startups itself. Why do you want to partner with corporates? I have met with certain startups that says that I want to go by myself, right? And I say, yeah, you can, but it's going to be a tough road. The benefit of working with corporate itself is the access to the industrial information. Many times you are not able to access what is the real industrial needs. What is the customer thinking? Continental serve all the OEMs in the world, all the brands. Do you really know what they are looking for? What's their next generation vehicles and what's the technology they are looking at? You might not have this information. We do have them, and we share it with our partners as well. Number 2 is tapping into existing platforms. Similarly, reinventing the wheel. Some startups want to reinvent the wheel that they have. I say, why do you want to do that when we are expert in this area, right? For example, radar systems, they want to rebuild the whole hardware radar and then integrate their software radar when their real interest is on the software portion. I say, why do you want to do that? Spend too much time and effort, and you might not be doing as well as what the large corporates has been doing, as we are already serving the customers. So tap onto existing platforms. And the last one is the important one, where you have access into a very high barrier of entry supply chain. This supply chain is not easy for you to enter. OEMs might not want to talk to you. The customers might not want to talk to you, but they talk to the large suppliers that is supplying them already, right? Have access to that. If your technology is good enough, and we are already in partnerships, the large corporates will often bring you together with them, their platform, their technology, to meet with the customers. That is of very high value. Even if the business does not go through, you have a lot of insights from these meetings and know how to customize and improve and optimize your products for the customers in the future. So looking at the type of commercialization path, right, we have to see where does your technology fits. And at KHOO, we have this area where we are bridging the gap. So understanding the program and the team that is engaging with you is important, because you need to understand what type of gap are they bridging. How do you communicate with them? What type of storyline should you say? And what are the problems, the openness of your idea to them, right? How much to communicate, basically. So it's important to understand how do you bridge the gap, the knowledge gap, and understanding of how you work with the startup, how we work with the corporate, that is of core importance. Working with MNC itself is, first of all, understanding how the MNC thinks, right? So I have a spelling error here, but basically it's how the MNC thinks. First of all, you understand what is your position. Is your startup as a supplier on a tier 3 level, tier 2 level, or tier 1 level? And when you're talking with the corporate itself, what position are they in? If you are talking to a tier 2 and you yourself is tier 2, you know that you are actually at the same place with them where you sell to your tier 1s, and tier 1s are your customers. But if says that you are talking to a tier 1 and you are tier 2, you know that you are already talking to the customer. right? And you're telling the customer how to use your product to serve their customer, right? So the positioning is different, and the way of working is also different. When you're working with a supplier-customer relationship, it's all about how can you fit and plug in your technology directly. But when you're talking about the same level, same tier, you're talking about how do I integrate your solution and theirs together to make the product better and to serve the customer that you are looking at. So the positioning is different, the innovation is different. Understanding of how B2B and B2B2C MNC works is basically understanding their customer needs. When you are talking to guys like us as a tier 1, we are often also asking, what are the needs of our customers? And how can your product actually produce value for our end customers, right? And how does our end customer think? So the OEM itself also has another view, which is how each of you who drive is going to buy their car, right? So we have to think throughout the value chain, because your sales depends on the supply to your customer, and your customer sales depends on the end consumer, right? So you have to think back. Does the end consumer want such a value that's being created by your product for your customer? This is important. So it's not just about saying that, oh, I can optimize and improve your product and services directly, but also on how you can help them create more value. And lastly, is to create interest with MNCs, and this is a model that we look into a lot. Basically, creating a platform where you are able to work with us as a supplier and the end customer, right? So this model itself created 3-party proof of concept. We co-create a use case, we test the technology together, and see how can we actually commercialize. This is a very interesting model that we are now working with a lot of our customers as well. So, coming to the end of the presentation itself, we look at what are some of the problems that MNC will always ask you when I look into the technology of a startup, right? Is to understand how big the problem is, what is the value that's created, and most importantly, why you? What's the unique selling point? Because there's hundreds of startups out there that is providing such a solution. What is the uniqueness of yours, and how does it fit into our products? I need to do a bit of my national service to promote Singapore. So what is a good ecosystem itself? I always look into these 5 areas, right? A good ecosystem says that the ecosystem itself has a good education system where it's able to come out with good IPs and entrepreneurs. Number 2, good entrepreneurs to create good startups in the environment. We have capital over there, which is the capital risk, which includes the VCs and all. We have large corporate to use the technology. And lastly, we have a government that creates a good platform to plug in all 4 factors that can grow the environment, right? So this is why I would say that a good ecosystem is where you have to see how your startup can grow in this area. All right, I see that I don't have time because of time issue. I will just flash through some of our products. I will not go into it. Just take a look at the photos. These are some of the products and services that we have, right? Tires and automotive side we have in the current car productions. Right? Thank you very much. And for any collaboration, feel free to add me on LinkedIn and also to contact my local partner over here in Korea, KHOO. Thank you very much.